time for Media Watch. We can say hello to James Creedon.
Hi, Delano.
Good evening. Now, you're starting out with a debate online in the United States over Donald Trump's plans to increase defense spending by 10%.
That's right. It will be probably one of the issues, I'm sure, that he will detail later on when he addresses that joint session of Congress. But let's take a look at how that's been playing out online. It's obviously generated a lot of debate. Many people sharing, I've seen quite a few people share this link. Now, it's to an article partly by Bob Woodward, the famous investigative journalist for the Washington Post, and a Washington Post investigation that uncovered $125 billion worth of bureaucratic waste at the Pentagon. Now, plans to increase defence spending by 10%. Many feel that perhaps the money could have been found elsewhere through, reducing bureaucratic waste, for example, instead of cuts in other areas. Others pointing to a similar argument, I suppose. Why not renegotiate defence contracts in order to make savings that could be diverted elsewhere in defence? In other words, that would have been perhaps a better way of making those savings. What about defence spending as it already stands? Quite a few have shared graphics such as this one showing that defence spending in the US is indeed already extremely high. It absolutely dwarfs defence spending in pretty much in every other country. You can see there $598 billion for US defence spending versus $66 billion in Russia, say. And this is a headline in The Intercept. Trump's proposed increase in US defence spending would be 80% of Russia's entire military budget. That's a 10% increase, which represents in itself 80% of Russia's entire defence military budget. So I think a lot of people are scratching their heads saying, is this to develop more weaponry? In which case, that actually takes time to actually translate the spending, the extra spending, into weapons. And if there's an urgency that is detected here, then you're not actually going to get the results as quickly as you might want. And many people really feeling that it's hard to figure out why this massive increase is required right now. Money for nothing, says Fred Kaplan, writing for Slate.com, saying that currently there is no functioning State Department in the US to conduct day-to-day diplomacy, and that forms a crucial bulwark to bloodshed. Trump's budget guidelines as a declaration of his one-dimensional priorities, and those priorities are wrong. Now, of course, there are also voices in favour. Just very quickly, a look at the Washington Times saying that this is simply a question of Donald Trump keeping his defence promises, and these priorities are bang on. Over at InfoWars, which is alt-right really, Trump drains the swamp to fund defence. So look, you'll find plenty of voices in favour of those policies as well.
Next year, sticking with the United States, there's a photo circulating online of Kellyanne Conway in the Oval Office that's causing quite a stir.
That's right. This is the photo. You can see her
I've
here.
I've seen it. I couldn't believe it.
Well, it really is a big viral photo. She has her she has her shoes on a couch, and she is sitting on her.
I hope
on
she
her
took
knees.
her shoes off.
Apparently, she didn't.
Okay.
In any case, this was a photo. You can see Donald Trump posing for a photo with leaders of black universities and colleges. This was in the Oval Office. Now, lots of comments on that. People saying, "Get your dirty feet off our sofa." Imagine if anyone from the Obama administration had been shown with their feet on the couch, etc.
But it's not even a comfortable position to sit in.
Well, in any case, people had a comment on it. People commented on it in every single way possible. You can see one person here saying, look, I don't really care if she had her feet on the couch. I just care that she's allowed in the Oval Office in the first place.
It's quite comfortable.
That's right. Now, of course, many were quick to point out that, well, Barack Obama did put his foot on the table of the Oval Office on occasion, so it's not exactly as if
president.
He was the president. But you did have some contrary voices. This is Chris Celiza for the Washington Post saying this is a dumb and inconsequential debate. We should be focusing on Trump's travel ban, his campaign contracts with in Russian intelligence officials, and his war against leaks. That's more important than this.
Finally, James, a new website to help fact-check news in the run-up to the elections here in France.
That's right. Now, this is one to check out. It does also have an English version. It's crosscheck.firstdraftnews.com in collaboration with the France 24 observers. What they're going to be doing is looking at various different news stories that are going viral online and fact-checking them. There was one story that got a lot of traction in the last couple of days about Emmanuel Macron, and the idea was that in his economic platform he was going to force property owners to pay a rent of some description, in other words, an extra tax. That is actually fake news. It got something like 15,000 2,000 shares online, and you can see that on cross-check there they have signalled that as a false story. And there are many other stories on that website that have been fact-checked, and it's a good way of making sense of this election with so much false news circulating, not just in the US but also here in the run-up to the
James
election.
Green, thank you very much. We're going to have to leave it there. Time for